What's happening, APLers? Here with a week 4 preview. We're going to start out in the Mia Khalifa division with the big matchup in that division this week, which is undefeated Ryan 3-0 facing today. It's 2-1. See if we can get this to start here. So quarterback breakdown here. Ryan is rolling with Cousins over Burrow once again this week. I don't know why you wouldn't do that until Burrow proves that he can put up a crazy point total, which he hasn't yet this year. So Cousins gets the Panthers. We're on the road. Seems like a little maybe like a down spot here because the Panthers are gonna kind of slow the pace down with the rookie at quarterback there, and maybe it's just not a smash spot for Kirk. But the Vikings are terrible, so it's always a smash spot, right? So 365 is what we're rolling with for Kirk. Today trots out the second round pick, Mr. Herbert there, 375 against the Raiders. No Jimmy G. Maybe the Chargers get up and run the ball, but they don't have anybody to run the ball. So they'll just throw it all day. 375 seems fine. 374, 375, whatever. Running backs, kind of even here. I got 105 projected for Henry, which is a big bounce back from the 20 points he put up last week. You can't be bad 2 weeks in a row, right? And then Mostert against the Bills. Maybe Mr. Achan cuts into that Mostert workload a little bit. And the Bills are a tougher defense, so 90 points is the projection there. So today's rolling with Madison again this week. We'll see if Cam Akers cuts into his role at all and see if he can hold on to the ball. There's a fumble that 85 could be in jeopardy. Kieran or Kyron Williams, I don't remember which one it is, plays the Colts. I think that's a good spot there. So 100 seems like a base, could be more. That guy's on the field like all day long. Pass catchers. Ryan's got Olave. It's been solid every week. Plays the Bucks. Maybe they're okay at defense, so maybe they limit him a little bit, but it should still be solid play. And then at the 2 and 3 spot there, Ryan's rolling with Mims and Palmer. Mims is in that Broncos-Bears game, which is the desperation game of the week. So I don't know. Ryan's probably going to swap him out for Debo now that Debo's going to play. So maybe that one doesn't matter. And then Palmer is a big free agent acquisition of the week. 65 points is the projection. He's going to cut into some of the Herbert point totals there for today. And he had the same role last year when Keenan Allen and Mike Williams were out all the time. And he didn't do that much. So we'll see if he's done anything more to progress himself there to earn more than the 65 projected points. Laporta had a good night on Thursday for Ryan. 116 is a nice total at tight end, more than my guys can do for sure. Ryan might be hoping for more, but I think he'll probably take the 116. Today's pass catchers look really good. Waddle gets the Bills. That should be, I think, a fun game. Bills are pretty good at defense, so they might be able to slow Waddle down. Puka gets the Colts. They're not good at defense. 100 seems like the floor. Should be a bigger opportunity there for Puka. Kirk gets, other than week 1, has been good. He's good week 2, week 3. 80 points there in the early game. And we get to see the Mostert versus Kirk in action here, the big trade from before the season started. And then Monday night, City's going to close it out with Waller here, 110 against the Seahawks. Seems fine. Seahawks haven't been great at defense. Maybe that one scores a little bit. Maybe not with Barkley out, but Waller could be a target. Throw in the kickers and defenses, see if Matt Gay can go for 250 again this week. We got today coming out to a little bit of a win here over, just under 50 points. You could throw in Debo, and that cuts that down to just a little bit, but I'll go with today. I think the Rams-Colts game is the driver here, that Kyron, and Puka are going to do what they were doing prior to last week. So I'll roll this today to move it to 3-1 and to knock Ryan down to 3-1. Next matchup here is the other one in the division this week. We got Daggy versus Jake. And maybe for the first time this year, Daggy favored to score more points at quarterback than his opponent. So Stafford gets the Colts. We talked about that before. Should be a good throw-in spot for Mr. Stafford. Dak gets a tougher matchup against the Patriots, so I have him projected a little lower there. At running back, unfortunately for Daggy, Aaron Jones returned on Thursday night and looked like a piece of shit and had 15 points. And that's not great. Daggy has some other options on the bench, James Conner and Joe Mixon, who have tougher matchups this week, but he probably would have still preferred either of them over Aaron Jones, 15 points. Zach Moss at 100. He's the man back there for the Colts right now. So maybe with Richardson, that point total goes up a little bit because now they got to deal with another running threat, but we'll go with 100 for now. Jake has the all-world CMC. There is running back one. $145 is his projection for the week. He's like a guy who can go for 250 at any time. Cardinals don't seem like they could really do anything about it, so maybe there's some upside there. Javonte gets the hopeless Bears. I think that's a good spot there. 90 points is the projection just because Samaje mixes in there so much with Javonte. Pass catchers. Dagy's got a good spot here with Jamar Chase. The Titans are the pass funnel defense. I like to think there's more of what happened on Monday night in store for Chase. So really like that spot. Lockett and Addison look fine as the 2 and 3 receivers there, 75, 65 points. Those guys are deep threats, so they could exceed that on a big play. Pitts gets the Jaguars in the London game. I think London, whatever. It's early in the morning. He's had success there in his rookie year. Maybe that's like a thing. Maybe Ritter can like find him on some of those wide open passes and put up a big number. Dagy's going to need it. On Jake's side, the pass catchers are looking pretty solid. Higgins, again, is in that pass funnel game against the Titans, and maybe he gets more than Chase. Maybe not. That'll be an interesting trade-off there to watch in this matchup. Pittman, also in that Rams-Colts game, which seems to be kind of an interesting one for these first two matchups. He's been good. He gets Richardson back to throw him the ball, which should help. And then Jake's rolling with Atwell in the 3 spot. He'll offset some of the Stafford points there at quarterback. And then Kittle's at 115. Again, I know the Cardinals were okay against the Cowboys last week by winning the game, but I don't know. Feels kind of like a Kittle week, but now with Debo and Ayuk back, maybe he goes down a little bit. I don't know. Feels like a good spot. Throwing the kickers and defenses, and we got Jake coming out on top here pretty handily. I just think that 49ers duo is too much upside, can score too much. That Diggs going to need some big games from Chase and Pitts to track him down. The Aaron Jones 15 points just doesn't help from Thursday night. So we'll go to Jake moving to 500 at 2-2 and Diggy dropping 0-4. All right, next matchup is the interdivisional matchup here between Corey and Tank. So Corey's got Mr. Mahomes going on Sunday Night Football in New York. 373 for Mahomes. He's been solid all year this year. It seems like just his number that he can put up pretty routinely. The Jets are good at defense. They can probably limit him a little bit, but feeling solid with Mahomes there. Gino, 315. Traveling across the country there to play the Giants on Monday night. We'll see. 315 is fine for Gino. Running back spot. We got Josh Jacobs against the Chargers. The Raiders don't really have a quarterback this week, so maybe they just lean on Jacobs. Run him the whole time. Chargers haven't done much to stop the run so far this year. Maybe this is a good spot for Jacobs. Corey is rolling with Khalil Herbert on the heels of the Broncos not being able to stop the Dolphins running at all. He's got Khalil in the matchup here. I guess 70 points is the projection. Maybe there's some upside. Just feels like split time. And maybe it's Rashawn Johnson getting as much work as Herbert does there. So just can't go too high. Takes running backs, looks solid. ETN against the Falcons again in the early game. 110. He's been great so far this year. And then Swift for 100 there against the Commanders. You never know what the Eagles are going to do in that backfield, but Swift has looked really good the last couple of weeks. So solid projection there. Corey's pass catchers got Devontae Adams at 110. That might come down a little bit with Brian Hoyer or Adrian O'Connell, I think, throwing the ball. We'll find out. But those guys should know. You just throw it to 17 and good things happen. Mike Evans is at 90 points. That might be a little high because he probably will get thrown out of the game. This week, this could be the annual fight between him and Marshawn Lattimore, which it's like a thing every year. So hopefully he gets his 90 points before he gets kicked out. Of course, he's got Mike Thomas rolling in, 65 points as the projection there. That's a little more than what he's been doing so far this year, but the Bucs Saints game is got 2 quarters wideouts. See how it goes. Ingram, again, in the early game, he has been excellent this year. 110 is the total there. Feels good. Tank Diggs, the wide receiver spot. Dolphins are probably going to limit the stuff over the top, lots of underneath stuff, which is kind of what Diggs can do. 115, good. Maybe there's some more. Devonta gets the Commanders. It's 85 points. Just feels like a spot where the Eagles are going to run the ball a ton. Maybe there's not a lot of upside on Devonta this week. Tank has a log jam there at wide receiver. He's rolling with Tank Dell in the wide receiver 3 spot. He's got to put that 49 or 48 or $49 to good use this week and roll with Dell. Leaving McLaurin, Ayuk, and somebody else who's good. I don't remember right now, but leaving those guys on the bench, rolling with Dell against the Steelers. So we'll see how that goes. Kelsey, $155 against the Jets Sunday night. That Mahomes Kelsey trade-off. Something to watch in this one to see how much of that 373 from Mahomes goes to Kelsey, gets offset. Throw in 90 points from Riley Patterson on Thursday night, and the rest of the kickers and defense. We got Tank coming out in a tight one here by the 22 points. I do think Tank pulls it out, and Kelsey comes through for Tank and for Taylor Swift, because she'll, of course, be at the game tomorrow night. Next matchup, me versus Solomon. It's a fun one. Solomon has a lot of stuff happening in that early game tomorrow. So you got Trevor Lawrence going 330. He hasn't been lighting it on fire this season. The Falcons like to run the ball, drain the clock. So maybe that limits Lawrence a little bit. So I only have 330 going. Josh Allen, 370. To me, that seems kind of like a ceiling for him. The Dolphins have given up over 300 points to everybody that they have played so far this year, but they haven't gotten crushed. So 370 might be the max. A little bit of a swing on my side, I think, in the quarterback, but you never know. Lawrence can do it too. With the running back spot, so of course has Bijan. Again, in the early game, 115 is the number there. That's fine. And then Devon Achane gets the call in the running back 2 spot there. It'll be really interesting to watch how the Dolphins use him this week. Was he in last week just because everybody was hurt? It seems like it would be pretty hard to put him back in the bottle after what he did last week. So I'm excited to watch. Not really excited to watch him play against me, but excited to watch and see what he's going to do. Our running backs look fine. Ken Walker gets the Giants, who haven't done a good job of stopping the run on Monday night, and James Cook against the Dolphins. Dolphins have also not done a good job of stopping the run. So feeling okay with those guys with their point total projections there. Pass catchers. Again, Ridley in that early game. So Lawrence to Ridley with Bijan all mixed together. It's an important game. Garrett Wilson gets the Chiefs on Sunday night. And Amari gets the Ravens. Those guys all seem fine. I got them in the 75 to 85 point projection range. And then Hawkinson gets the Panthers, $125. There's a total there. He can obviously go for way more than that every week. Just depends on how they're going to play the defense there. I think Hawkinson can go nuts. My pass catchers, Tyreek. It's the Bills. It's going to be fun to watch the Tyreek matchup there with Mr. White. See if they're able to shut him down. He hasn't given up many yards at all this year, but we'll see how much they move Tyreek around. CeeDee Lamb against the Patriots. A little concerned about that with the rookie there that's been shutting people down the last couple of weeks, and Lamb having a little bit of an off week. But still feeling comfortable with Lamb there at 95 points. Keenan Allen, $120. I think he gets a little bit more stuff with no Eckler and no Mike Williams. The Raiders, poor defense. Pat Fryermuth against the Texans, I'm projected for 70. I mean, he's my tight end, so it should really be under 10 points, should be the projection there, but we'll hope for a little bit more. Throwing the kickers and defense, Solomon got a nice game from Quay Walker, 68 points on Thursday night. Has me coming out to a little bit of a win here, I think, but I think it's really close. I said I made it sound really close last week, but it did turn out to be really close. But I do think the Jags and Falcons and then the Bills Dolphins games are going to tell the story here. We got a lot of guys that are tied up in those two games, and the game flow and kind of just how those games play out will probably dictate our matchup. If any of them shoot out, then it's going to be tough for the other one to overcome those points. Final matchup of the week, and what's today billed as the most important, biggest, I forget exactly what it was, but 0-3 versus 1-2 matchup in APL history. So Greg's 0-3 squad. Ooh, I didn't do the thing where all the positions come out separate here, but Hurts versus Richardson. Kevin's rolling with Richardson over Lamar. Interesting. I know the Browns defense is good, but we'll see. Interested to see how that call plays out. Hurts against the Commanders doesn't feel like a huge upside spot. Commanders are defense is solid. They haven't been able to score a lot of points, so kind of just does feel like a spot where Hurts is going to get limited a little bit, not have a 400 plus upside game. A big difference here at running back. Greg's rolling with Dameon Pierce and Gus Edwards. At this point, Pierce start seems fine. Maybe 75 seems a little low because the Steelers haven't been great at stopping the run. Gus Edwards against the Browns, I think that's a tough go. 50 points there, but Greg's backups, Brian Robinson gets the Eagles, also a tough go, and then he has the Panthers guys. So maybe if Miles Sanders is ruled out, tomorrow morning we might see Chuba jump into the lineup here and take over Gus Edwards. We'll see. Ross's is looking pretty solid. Montgomery put up the 203 on Thursday, huge number there, and then Pollard has put up about a 120, 125 every week so far this year. Patriots will be keyed on him, but not sure anybody can do anything about it. Pass catching for Greg. JJ, again, just kind of like Pollard, he's just put up 150 plus points every week. And maybe, like I talked about, maybe the Vikings don't have to throw as much. Maybe there's a little bit less of a ceiling for JJ, but there never really is. So still have the 135. Nico Collins for 75 against the Steelers. Thielen for 65 against the Vikings. Like that number to be higher for Thielen, but Andy Dalton just locked onto him last week and didn't see that with Bryce Young in the first 2 weeks. So maybe that's not a thing this week. We'll see. Dallas Goedert, 90 points against the Commanders. There's a spot where Greg needs a big game from Goedert here. He just hasn't done it so far this season. Pass catching on Kevin's side. AJ Brown, he did it last week. He was good. We'll see if he keeps that up. He's going to offset some Jalen Hurts stuff. So Greg will be hoping that more goes to not AJ Brown. DK has been solid this year. Will probably be the decider there on Monday night. Most of Greg's team plays at noon tomorrow, so a lot of this will be figured out quickly. Jacoby Myers in the lineup there. Sounds great. With Johnny throwing him the ball, he'll be awesome. And then Mark Andrews gets a tough Browns defense. So 100 points seems a little bit low for him, but the Browns have been shutting everything down so far this year. Regardless of that, we still have Kevin with a sizable margin here of victory. So I think Ross wins comfortably. That running back gap is just too much to overcome. So a quick summary here. That's today over Ryan, Jake over Day, Tank over Corey in a close one, me over Solomon, and I think it was kind of a toss-up in another close one, then Ross over Greg. I'm throwing the lock of the week on Jake over Daggy. Two things to close out. One, it's my dad's 70th birthday tomorrow. So you feel old when your dad turns 70, but I'll be hanging out with him tomorrow and wishing him a happy birthday. And then number two, Ross and I annually make a bet on the Twins wins over under. So I think everybody might know this already, but in case you don't, I feel like it's worth highlighting. This year we bet on 86.5 wins was the number. Kevin takes the over every year. I take the under because I mostly hate the Twins. Our bet was the loser has to caddy for the winner, and you had to pay for the round of golf. You have to wear a Masters jumpsuit with the name of the person you're caddying for on the back. You have to carry a sign that is a scoreboard, basically, that is noting the scores of all the people golfing through each hole. And then you have to bring a cooler of pimento cheese sandwiches on the course. So we got to about the middle of July, and Ross started talking about a buyout. So as another quick reminder, tonight the Twins won their 87th game of the season. So the Twins hit the over. Unfortunately for Kevin, he did take the buyout on the bet. So all of those terms hold true, except for he doesn't have to pay for a round of golf. And in return for that, I get to pick a pound of candy for him to eat that he has to eat in under 4 hours, or he owes me a draft pick next year. I doubt that he will not finish in 4 hours, but there's just a little incentive there to make him do it. So I just want to congratulate Ross on losing a bet that he would have won if he just would have believed in his hometown team, which is just unbelievable that he didn't believe in the Twins. So, all right, talk to you guys later.